Hello, and welcome to 24/7's webinar, Onboarding You to Your New Reality, Working from Home. For many of you watching this, your new work arrangement may have come on suddenly, and you're wondering what to expect and how to stay productive, engaged, and connected. So let's begin. If you're still in the preparation stage of this working situation, here's a list of tools and technology that you will need to effectively work from home. Obviously, high-speed internet, a laptop, or a desktop computer are obvious musts, followed by a webcam. Ideally, it would be great to have a dedicated webcam either as a standalone piece of equipment or one that's integrated into your laptop. A camera is necessary for video conferencing. However, if you have a smartphone, you can conduct video conferences from your phone as well. It's not the ideal situation because you may want to keep your phone free while video conferencing for text messaging or checking your email, but if that's what you have, that's what you're going to have to roll with. Next, consider the software and applications that will make working from home easier. Often, as a remote employee and even as a freelancer working for a client, specific project management software may already be set up, like Microsoft Project, Trello, or Asana. The same may be the case for messaging software. These may include Slack or Microsoft Teams. Project and messaging applications are critical to keep remote teams connected and on the same page, as will email. If you're working as a company employee remotely, and sometimes even as a freelancer, the company will give you access to their email system and server to access files while you need them remotely. And finally, you will need a printer and all the supplies you'd normally need to complete your work, including ink and paper. We recommend always having a 2-week supply on hand. Ideally, it would be prudent to test all your equipment and connectivity well ahead of time before you begin working from home to ensure a smooth transition. But given some circumstances, it may not be the case. However, a major tip that we can offer is to test your conference call and video conference componentry well before any calls take place. Make sure you're able to sign in and be present several minutes ahead of time so that you aren't late for the meeting or scrambling with connectivity issues just before the meeting is about to begin. So let's talk about what your workspace should look like. If you have a dedicated room as a home office, that's fantastic. But if you don't, what area in your home can you make a dedicated space for productive, undistracted work? Remember, you will need to take calls and participate in video calls, so pick the quietest area of your house for those. What's a low traffic area that you can work in? Also, keep in mind psychologically that setting up a dedicated space for work helps send a signal to yourself that it's work time. It also helps to compartmentalize work life from home life. And take it from me, as someone who's done a lot of at-home working, I personally have found working from a space that doesn't have visual distractions like the kitchen or the laundry in view so that I don't get caught up in household chores. Which brings us to our next slide, setting boundaries and expectations. Work with your supervisor or client to agree what the dedicated work hours. Sometimes when teams are distributed across time zones and geographic areas, there is a set time where everybody needs to be working to facilitate collaboration and teamwork. Also, determine when are you expected to clock in and sign out for the day and how will that happen. We also highly recommend a shared calendar so that your availability is visible at all times should you need to be called or invited to a meeting. It's a good idea to keep that calendar updated even when you step away from your desk for a few minutes, whether it be for lunch or for another errand. If you're not sharing a calendar, determine with your team, manager, or client how you will keep them updated on your availability. In addition to the day-to-day communications that will naturally occur over the course of work, it's imperative to set up a regular touch base meeting with your team, manager, or client at a minimum once a week. We recommend that happen at the beginning of the week or perhaps at the end of the week, just to go over the things that have been accomplished and what's coming up next. Also, establish what kind of communication makes sense throughout the day. What should be handled by email, phone call, text, or instant message to avoid bombarding someone with communication in an overwhelming way. Many of us have a time of day when we are most productive. That window should be the time where high priority tasks get done. For me personally, it's from late morning till about 1 p.m. It's important to know what your priorities will be for each day so you can take advantage of that power window. We recommend using the end of day to identify the top tasks for the next day so you're ready to be most effective, and to really rely on those tools for project management and messaging in order to pivot and prioritize what you need to be working on. Our other recommendation is to bundle your low priority items and housekeeping tasks for designated times of day. For example, maybe you'll batch respond to emails at lunchtime or at the end of the day, or perhaps work on secondary and tertiary action items in the late afternoon. And finally, those distractions again. Try to keep distractions to a minimum so you can plow through your priorities when you're feeling most productive. As tempting as it may be, try to stay off social media, news streaming services, turn off personal alerts, and don't log on to personal email. It's work time after all. It may be tempting to feel lax towards work when you're at home. So one of our tips is to get into the zone in an easy way is to treat the day like you're headed to the office. Technically you are. It's just that now it takes you seconds to get there. So this means you might need to get up, shower, and dress as if you're headed out like you used to. You never know when a conference call is going to be switched to a video call, so you want to look your best, and you don't want to be caught unprepared. Think of getting into the headspace for work as taking a commute, but instead of a physical one, it's a mental one. And finally, as you transition to this new work model, make it a regular practice to get feedback from your team, manager, or client how the situation is working out. Are all the systems and procedures in place working for everyone? What can be improved to enhance engagement, productivity, and communication? Working from home requires greater flexibility, agility, and responsiveness, and, quite frankly, focus and concentration than co-location. But if communication and adjustment is baked into the arrangement, it's easy to make it a win-win situation for everyone. We wish you the best of luck as you navigate working from home. It's going to be great.